All right, welcome back to another Shop Class podcast. All right, we have a special guest tonight. If you're into skiing, welding, and inventions, this is the podcast for you. I'll tell you what, if I heard that on an intro, I would definitely perk up because I'm into skiing, welding, and inventions, and mechanics and whatnot. So we got a very special guest. We got Weston Spencer. How you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you today? Or
All right.
tonight, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing the maintenance and then jumping over to your workshop to catch the podcast. I really appreciate it. And we also have a regular in the house. We got Nick, Tech Ed Fireman. How you doing?
Present and accounted for.
Present and accounted for. That's his line. So, and Nick teaches in New York State, teaches the high school. He does pretty much, if you name it, he's probably taught it. He does a lot of wood turning at the Catskills Maker Camp, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's a thing we got going. And also, he just took a small engine class, just to kind of refresh and build up some of these pro development classes. How was the class, Nick?
It was informative. I mean, I did pick up some stuff that I didn't know from early college years, but it's interesting to be a quote-unquote shop teacher and go to ag classes because we're very similar as far as the curriculum goes and everything, and hearing how they do things and then how we do things, and they're
really?
Yeah.
What do you think the difference was?
Well, as far as delivery and then the camaraderie, as far as Aggies, when Aggies start talking, it's, not uncommon for them to work 12 months a year because of their work schedule and their kids being out on SAEs and, on a farm or on a, site working all summer that they have to go and supervise and everything.
Oh, wow. No kidding. Yeah. I mean, they're probably like, yeah, Betsy the cow, she blew a gasket the other day. And I'm like, oh, we're over here talking about motorcycles. They're talking about like actual horses, instead we're talking about steel horses and they're talking about meat horses.
Yeah. Well, we're also talking about $1 million tractors.
Oh, true.
And working on $1 million tractors.
Dude, are they talking about robotics? Is that a big thing, right?
It's starting. I mean, when I took the Ag Power and Tech class, one of our field trips during that case class was to a seed producer who sells all the different corn seed and soybean seeds and all their test plots, and they have the drones able to heat signature, and then I think it's mainly with the heat signature be able to know that this part of the field is a little warmer, so let's figure out what nutrients it needs to level back out. And some of the implements, the 60, 90 row corn planters, they all 90 rows are individually censored, that as they come around a corner and they've already planted it, those different rows will just start turning off like a stair step pattern.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing just with the GPS and everything.
It's not the aliens making the crop circles. It's us.
Yeah.
We're the
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's like a 3D cutter, like a CNC machine, but for like the land.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah. So, okay, we also have in the house a special guest. Another podcast is in. We got the Builder Sessions, and they've had Weston on before. How was that? Was it fun doing that podcast?
Oh, that was a great podcast, and I've stayed in touch with them ever since. We talk weekly, sometimes daily, so it was a really good podcast to be on. They've had some really cool guests other than me that are way more fun, but they're pretty good dudes. So,
dude, that's
glad to see him here. I had no idea. He didn't even tell me.
Yeah. So, I'm going to check it out. I was listening to your episode and I was getting into it. That's pretty cool. And they're shop teachers in Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, they're up right just way north of me, but they're right before the mountains, and they do a really cool one's welding shop teacher, and I think that's Rosie, and then Hoff is the wood shop teacher. So they do both sides of it. So they're in high school.
Dude, so imagine, that's the beauty of the Shop Class podcast, is that we get to cross pollinate. Like, what's it like teaching shop in Canada? I have no idea. Oh, there's Rosie.
Now Rosie's back. Turn your mic on,
Sorry
Rosie.
about
We're
that.
talking about you.
I don't know. I was talking to the teacher. Hold on.
Wow.
Hey,
You
Rosie,
at work
what's
still
it like?
or what?
No, my kids are at Taekwondo right now.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
There we go. I can talk. How's it going, guys?
Good. Rosie, what's it like teaching shop class in Canada?
It's the best. It's the best thing. I don't know how I get paid for it, man. It's the
Wow.
absolute best. I absolutely love it, especially when kids are. I was just actually talking to the teacher here at Taekwondo, because he works for an organization that provides students funding who want to go into the trades to get like their first helmet and work boots and that kind of thing. So that's why I was just talking to him. But having kids come in with no idea of what they want to do or whatever, and lighting a fire of excitement about a trade, so it's like, and then having that fuel their pursuit of a career, it's amazing.
That's awesome. That's
Like,
awesome.
it changes the trajectory of their lives, and my
100%.
job is to
That's the
my
word.
job is to just light the
Trajectory.
fire. Yeah.
I'm with you, because they might find it, but it's going to take a little while.
Mhm.
You're basically like putting them on like that, like basically like launching them out of a cannon, rather than letting them flounder, and look, some people might find their way, and, might have some really good parents and also some sort of good program in their town. But a lot of them, they just don't have a good start. And that's, fair enough. Like, ironically, that I'm a shop teacher, I did not have shop class growing up, and I wish I did. And so now I'm trying to be the best shop teacher I can be. And I'm also trying to like learn from other shop teachers and other tradespeople and find out, hey, what do you wish you had growing up? Like, what can we do better, over here? And let's exchange ideas.
My wallet?
Yeah. Uh-oh, you better get that one.
No, we're good. So yeah, I know. And for me,
beat them up,
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool because there's been a couple instances since I've started where, like, I this just as well as I do. You don't get all the information on a kid, right?
No. Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you find out that they're at a day home, not day home, a youth home, or they have, like, one kid had his he came in and his parole officer pops by and I was like, oh, I thought Weston was the only one who had one of those, but
Not anymore.
not anymore. Yeah, but no, his parole officer comes by and he was just incredible in the class, and he was helping everybody and learning. And the only thing that I had like feedback for him was just he's very impatient. Like, he really wanted to rush the process and stuff, and he wanted it done now, which is great, but I had to rein that in. So then I just was like, you know what? I should probably just send this parole officer like a letter letting him know how he's doing. And so I sent this letter, and then after Christmas, this kid comes in and he goes, I just had my court date, and they brought your letter up in court, and turns out that the letter that I sent just randomly, just as like an update, was one of the main reasons I kept this kid out of jail.
Dude.
Oh,
And I
nice.
was just like, are you kidding me? It was crazy.
Wow.
And just the class, and it's just so you don't know how much, well, anyone in any job, especially in schools, you don't know how much pull and like an impact you have, and you might not even know. But my job, I just feel like, is just to light the passion, you know what I mean? And then they can put up with the monotony of the 8 million welds a day they have to do in trade school. But I'm teaching them the basics and then letting them build whatever project they want to kind of light that passion and get them pumped. And then I'm doing training, journeyman training myself too, so I know the process, and then I know industry standard stuff, but also we're gonna have fun with it too.
Dude, Rosie, that's awesome. I love what you're saying. Just to back that up, it's funny, like I work in an urban neighborhood. It's kind of nice now, but when I first got here, it was like big dudes in the class, and they're all rough, and they had ankle bracelet, one of them, which means like, I guess that's probably parole or something. I don't even know. And the funny thing is, sometimes like people would say like, oh, aren't they kind of disruptive? This, that. I go, yeah, they're disruptive, but guess who's going to save you from a burning building? That guy's probably going to be a fireman, and he's going to save your life one day. So let's give a little respect to these kids that have a little more energy than just sitting in the rows of the classroom. That's why shop class is so good, because it's more project-based learning. It's more hands-on. It's more failure is the teacher instead of, you got to memorize this stuff is the teacher, So anyway, cool. Preaching to the choir here about this, Nice. So awesome. All right. Well, let's get into our guest tonight, which is Weston Spencer. Man, this is awesome, dude. So we always start with the biggest question of the night, but before we get to the biggest question of the night, I'm going to stall because Duke is the guy who asked the question, and he's not here right now, but he's going to join. And but I want to just give me like an overview. So you are currently like a lift operator, mechanic, operation mechanic, and you have an invention, and you're also a welder. Can you tell us a little bit about the lift operations?
So I've been a ski lift mechanic for, I think it's my 17th season straight. So for quite a while now. So it's pretty much like a millwright on a ski lift. That exact same thing. In the winter, you're sitting around waiting for shit to break. Pretty much, you're on call, go ride the lift, go do some skiing, and making sure everything's working. And then once something breaks, you hurry up and figure out what the hell just broke it, and then get it going as soon as you can, or clear the line, whatever you got to do. Then in the summer, we go through, and every one of those wheels in that video, we lift up the cable, we check every wheel, we grease every bearing, we take every grip apart. We're there year round, and it's super fun in the summer because it's pretty much a shutdown that lasts 10 months, 9 months. So you get tons of time to actually do the proper work on the machine rather than a regular shutdown. It's okay, you got 4 days. We're going to tear this thing apart, put it back together. We get the whole summer. We do have a whole bunch of ski lifts. We're sitting on 22. So does everything get done? No, but we try. And it's been a pretty cool career. We get every day's different. Some days you're up in the air, some days you're on the ground, some days you're in the shop. You get to work with really big rigging, you get to work with oils, you get to work with all kinds of cool machines. And some days you're driving a tractor, a forklift. It's always different. It's pretty neat.
That's awesome. Now, this is not your video, but I was looking this up, and as I was listening to the Builder Session podcast with you, and I was like, oh man, I got to find some video of this, because, if you're not a skier, you might not see this all the time, but I'm always looking at the wheels. It's a cool little suspension rig. And how does the cable not break? Like, I don't get it, man. That thing's like abused.
Because it's giant. It is super big. So the cable, the lift you're looking at here looks like it's a fixed grip lift. So there's two different kinds of ski lifts. There's a fixed grip and a detach. And what that means is the chair is either fixed to the rope or it detaches from the rope when it goes into the terminal.
Is it like when you get in there, the luxury one, it opens and goes slow for the people
exactly
to handle a fast lift?
Yep. So, and what the reason is so that we can, if it was going full speed when you got off, even a good skier can't really handle it. Yeah. So what it does is there's a big spring and they pretty much just clamps onto the rope with spring tension. That's how they all work. Some have torsion springs. A lot of them are just coil springs or even Belleville washers. We do kind of all three different styles throughout time. There's even some wild ones out there that do different stuff, but usually it's 2 coil springs on a modern one. They push down and it detaches from the rope, and then it pushes through the terminal, we call it, where you unload and load. And that way it works with tires. And belts, pretty much just a gear ratio slows that chair down between each tire. It's a different gear ratio. So it's slowly, 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 and then it's going around, and then it starts going the opposite way. It's speeding back up. So it starts speeding back up again. And as soon as it's going, it's all engineered. So it's going the same speed as the rope again. It opens that grip again with the pressure plate, and then it goes the same speed, grabs back on, and takes off. And that way you can slow down, load or unload safely. And that's how your detach works. Where your fixed grips, they're not permanently on there. They're clamped on with another spring. It's usually a spring with a big bolt, and it like fixed to one tension, and that clamps onto the rope, and then it just goes around and around and around and just stays in the same spot. So they run a lot slower. So like a detach, we can run at about 900 feet per minute. And there's some that are getting faster. They're even going faster and faster nowadays. And then a fixed grip, they run at about 350 to 400 feet per minute. So they're a lot slower, but they're way cheaper too. So Ski Hill can buy one for right now, probably $1 million, maybe. Used to be a couple $100,000, but now you do a fixed grip for $1 million, let's say, but a detach is going to cost you about $6 million right now. Probably
it makes sense because it's luxury, man. That the way it slows down, and I've seen it actually divide into 2 lanes.
Yeah, we don't have any of those where I'm at. It's coming. We're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm in Park City, Utah, so at Deer Valley Ski Resort, I'll just drop it, whatever. So we're getting bigger and bigger. We just doubled our size. In a couple of years, we're gonna double the amount of ski lifts, and they're gonna do all kinds of shit like that. But right now, we don't have anything fancy where it's double lines. There's even some in Europe that'll like go into a terminal, then lower down and go to like a different area, pick up different people, and put them out to a whole nother ski lift. They can like split them out and stuff.
Whoa.
The engineering is crazy. Really, really impressive.
I got a couple of wild questions about this.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's probably thinking this, like, I've seen the failure video where it comes backwards and accelerates, looks like they lost the brake and looks like they lost any sort of control, and the weight is on the downside. So like these people are just citizens, like not just sit.
Yeah,
like people are just scattering to get the fuck out. Sorry, get out of the way. It's like, dude, it's a nightmare. I'm like, oh my God. And I have a story of my own. I got stuck on a lift out. I know what happened, but I'll explain. But I'm going to try and find that video. What happened there, man? Have you seen that video?
Yeah, that one, it circulates every year, first of the season. That was maybe 5 years ago. That happened in the country of Georgia. And so with a ski lift, what happens if they start rolling backwards? There's all that momentum of that fully loaded line just moving, and it's going to get going faster and faster and faster. So that's called a rollback, and that is like the worst thing to ever happen on a ski lift of any kind, because then you can't stop it once you get that momentum going backwards. Imagine your brakes aren't strong enough to grab that again, so it just starts hucking people off.
Is this the one?
Yeah, that's the one, and it just starts hucking you and hucking you.
Dude, they're like, get off, and then these people get thrown.
Yeah, that's was almost not as bad as it can be. It could be so much worse than what happened here. It's super scary. And so on that one, from what I understand, is the mechanics. Of course, they're going to blame the mechanics because that's who you blame. It's never management or anybody, but somehow,
yeah.
So on a ski lift, there's 3 different brakes. Guess we'll start with that. You have a service brake, which is like your normal one. It's really just a big, giant disc brake, like on the front of your car.
Okay.
And your electric motor regens, and then that grabs right at the end and holds it. It's a huge disc. It's probably about 3 to 4 feet, depending on how big the ski lift is.
So you're saying it has electric motor regen and a disc brake?
Yep. How they all stop is regen electricity. So
basically, it's like a Tesla.
They're just like Teslas, dude, except for they're plugged into the wall. So we're running off 480 3-phase. What I look at the lift today, and I was running at how many volts was it? Shoot, it's so 400 or 480 volts, and then like 200 amps. So we have these huge motors. Like a lot of our motors on our not that. So that's one of the fixed grip lifts. But on a detach, we got.
I can't one with video anymore. I'm getting sick thinking about it.
Yeah, dude, it's nasty. It is terrifying.
That is a bad situation. And I'll tell you my situation, and you tell me what you think happened. But it's pretty obvious. But go ahead. Yeah. So So you
Yeah,
got
so what-
regen and you got this disc and the
Yep,
power.
you got your service brake that'll hold the load, and it will stop the lift too from going forward, because as you're going uphill, the load's going to slowly decrease because you're climbing a hill, and if you cut the motor, it's going to slowly start losing momentum, and it'll stop and apply the brake. And then that's just like next to the gearbox. So how it works is you have your motor, and then you have a directional gearbox, which is just a ring and pinion
Yeah.
that goes down, and that'll change your gear ratio. And then below that, you usually have a planetary gear set. And sometimes they're 2 or 3 stage. A lot of times they're single stage. They're all the different types. And there's different configurations. So it goes through, changes direction, goes through a gear ratio. And a lot of times, it's just a final drive off of a Caterpillar. That's all they use. They just turn it from, instead of standing up on end, they flip it to the side, and there's your planets inside of there, and it gives you your gear ratio to go.
Nice.
And then, so with that goes into the bull wheel, is what we call it. That's where, so it's a big circle. You've probably seen it when you're riding. That's where the rope actually drives. So at each end, one is just a pulley with the bearing, pretty much. It's just a big shiv wheel. And the other one has the gearbox in it, and that's the one driving. And so what happens for your brakes, there's 2 brakes on that ring. So they clamp over here, like on the outer disc of that bull wheel.
Oh,
so
there's a brake on the internal side, regen, and an outer brake on the bull wheel.
Correct. Yep. So the bull wheel, so you can actually stop the physical bull wheel.
Yeah.
So the theory there is in case your motor goes out.
Gear brakes.
Yep, exactly. If your gear breaks, the shaft breaks, you can clamp the actual ring of the bull wheel right at the rope.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot of leverage because it's all the way out.
Yep. And it's a big, and they work just like a semi truck. You're pumping off the brakes, so they always want to be applied.
Oh.
So it's the same theory on every brake in a ski lift, just like almost anything that's running people, is you want to always have your brakes applied, and then you pump them off, and then when anything fails, hydraulically or electrically, it's going to apply it again. And all these are hydraulic brakes.
Safe.
Yep. So there's 3 of them. They got
air brakes. They're air brakes.
No, some of the old ones are air brakes, but they're all hydraulic brakes. Everything's hydraulically pumped off, and then a big spring applies it. So the spring is trying to smash that bull wheel with big, and they're just like a car brake where they're what's the word I'm thinking? A ceramic pad or a asbestos type pad or whatever. That's all it is. So it has the friction, it can run through it to give you slowdown, because you don't want to go too fast either and stop, or all that momentum is going to start swinging your chairs around.
Oh, dude, it would throw us off.
Yeah, so there's a big science to how to stop these things safely. But then, so the next one is, so that's your emergency brake on the outside ring on the bull wheel. And then there's a second one next to that for the rollbacks. In case you do get one, it catches it right away. There's sensors using proximity sensors, and we're watching in case that bull wheel goes backwards farther. We give it a little bit, a couple inches, sure, because it has slop in it. But once it goes too far, it applies that third brake. So then you have 3 brakes smashed on there to prevent what happens in that video is an actual rollback.
Wow.
Because you don't want that to happen. That's scary.
No, dude.
That's why we don't like running in reverse even. It's not a good practice to run the ski lift backwards just in case that happens.
Yeah.
So we really don't like doing that with public.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot because you're a lift operator, but I was just curious, like what are the redundancies? And obviously things happen. I mean, geez, people, listen, if you go skiing, you're taking a risk. You're going in the sky, you're on the ground, you got people crashing into you. I'm not pointing any fingers. And so, but you're a mechanic. So I wanted to know what happened there? So all their brakes failed. Is basically what happened.
I heard they maybe had them out of the situation somehow.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think some guys might have actually went to jail for that situation. Actual mechanics might have actually, and they might still be, where if you actually physically did something that would prevent the safety, it's a big hazard. It's a very dangerous job with that. And that's one thing, kind of just like if you were working on a tractor and there was hauling people or whatever, and you did something, a semi truck or a school bus, and you did something to the brakes and it couldn't stop. It's kind of your fault.
Listen, NASA, the Challenger rocket, they killed 7 people.
Yep.
Because they wanted to go when the rubber company said, hey, our seals aren't going to hold at this temperature. So,
dude, that's kind of wild you bring that up, because that company that makes those seals and that rocket is about 40 miles from my house.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah, we drive by there to go out. It's right on the shore, pretty close to the shore of the Great Salt Lake. We have the big giant Salt Lake here, and they actually built those rockets right here. It's even in the documentary that was on Netflix or whatever about that. They're just not too far
Whoa.
from me.
Dude, this is a small world on the Shop Class podcast.
Yeah, it is.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, listen, it's not, people don't realize it's very hard to make stuff and to make it work safely. And literally, like, when people get on the lift, they are relaxed. I mean, sure, there's a couple of people, but veterans get on the lift, they're smoking cigarettes, they're hanging out, they're stoked up, they're friends. And the whole time I'm always like, checking. I'm like, yeah. That looks pretty good. All right.
Just like a roller coaster, you're a little nervous sometimes. If you know how things work and you kind of get a little bit worried sometimes.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think, man? When was the last time you were on skis?
Probably 16 years ago, right before my son was born.
Oh, man, that's too long. We got to get you
Yeah,
out.
I know.
Yeah. There's quite a few ski hills out there in New York. You guys got quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, if you ski the East Coast, it's all ice.
Yep.
But, sometimes you get some powder. It's not like out there. Salt Lake's really good.
It is. It's a really good place to ski.
Nick, where did you go skiing when you went?
Well, I was going with the school, and we go to Bel Air.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
Bel Air is cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer Bel Air over Hunter or Wyndham.
Probably less crowds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less city atmosphere.
And Hunter, I think, is now owned by like a big company. So, yeah.
Well, they all are. They all are now.
Yeah.
We are as well.
Yeah. Let me welcome in Dave Potts. He just joined in. How you doing? I don't know if you could hear us or see us. He looks like he's just joining. Oh, yeah. How you doing?
Good. Yourselves?
Yeah. Dave Potts, you are someone's shop teacher. Oh, my God. Am I forgetting? You're Duke's shop teacher.
No.
Damn. Nick, help me out.
Kevin Witt and I work at the same school.
Oh, Kevin Witt. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Yourselves?
Good. You're down in, what's the name of the town?
Columbus.
Okay, they're in New Jersey.
Yes.
And tonight we have Weston Spencer. And
Hey, Dave.
Yep. He's a lift operator, mechanic, and also a welder, and he's got a cool little invention we're going to talk about tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now, Dave? Which shop do you teach? Are you the metal guy?
I teach graphic design.
Okay,
and I do
right. And you
I
have
do have one
big
metal shop.
t-shirts.
Yes.
He's got this crazy like t-shirt maker thing, and you just go down.
Oh, those are cool.
Like that. Oh, and we got Duke Lazowski in the house just in time. I got one story, and then we're gonna hit you with the biggest question of the night. Yeah, Duke. All right, Duke Lazowski in the house. Duke teaches middle school shop class, exposing the kids to all the cool equipment. And Duke, we didn't ask the question yet.
Oh, that was still going to be my first question if you didn't.
Yeah, okay.
Running a little late.
We saved it for you. Okay, but I got one. We're talking about lift operations right now. And
right. Give you my cue.
yeah, okay. So just hold on there. I'm glad you're here. I stalled for you.
Not my first show.
Yeah. And it turns out Nick was secretly was skiing before the kids. He was a big skier.
No, I started skiing in elementary and high school, and then in college I switched to snowboarding.
Oh, no kidding! You're a snowboard.
Oh, cool.
We gotta go snowboarding. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Shop Class Podcast snowboard trip. I can smell it in the air.
Yeah, that'd be a good one too. My kid, he's on the bunny slopes. I've never been on the bunny slopes before. Because I grew up in Central Jersey, right? Nobody skied. So my football coach thought it would be a good idea to run a ski trip to Sugar Bush, Vermont. Took the whole school. Now it's a small school. I would have graduated with like 50 kids. So you figure like you take in, 4 or 5 classes. 100 kids or something. They might have been junior high kids too. Sugar Bush, Vermont. Everybody's like taking lessons. First time on the slopes, right? There's kids whizzing down the slopes, right? So then we there you can go top of the mountain, take the easy slopes. You're just doing like your pizza cutter all the way down. It's not a big deal. But then high school moved up here to East Stroudsburg. They're like, oh, we're going skiing. Shawnee Mountain's right down the road.
Yeah.
Took me to the top of the mountain, my buddies. It was just like, just do it.
No learning, no
Nope.
sequence. No, you go to the top.
Just from the lessons from Vermont, pizza cutter.
That's the only way to go.
That's it. But then, yeah, same thing. College took up snowboarding. We were close to another mountain montage near Scranton. And then now I'm back with my 7-year-old. He's taking the lessons and doing the pizza cutter.
We did a lot of that. I raised all 3 of the kids on a ski hill, and we went out when they were tiny. I had them out at like 2 or 3 years old, and we just would go to whatever. We're standing here on I like the magic carpets, the conveyor belts, and we just sit there for a couple hours till they're over it, and then we go home, grab hot chocolate, and was it.
Nice.
Days there, days and days. Now I can barely keep up with them. They're little rippers.
Yeah, I know. That's going to happen to me. Like, I took my kid to the top of the mountain. We went down. He got mad at me, threw the skis at me, but he's got to learn, But, like, I'm savoring it now. He's behind me. I'm watching him a couple years.
It's coming.
Gonna be
My
gone.
kid, all 3 of mine, I got 2 12-year-olds and a 14-year-old, and they can rip. There's nowhere on the hill they can't go. There's days I'm like, oh, I don't think I should be in there. Like, they're at the bottom, and I'm catching up. Like, oh, I thought I had to pick you up. Nope, we're done.
Yeah.
They're killing it.
Fear, lower center of gravity, good stuff.
Yeah, they're not scared. They're
Nick,
not scared of nothing.
Kid on skis or what?
Yeah, you got Nick Jr.
Well, that's the thing. We just never went after the kids were born. So
Yeah.
It's not cheap. It's not a cheap thing at all.
Yeah, you got
Especially out here. I don't know what you guys have to pay for passes there, but shoot, where I'm at, it's $300 a day during peak times to go out.
You have to
day.
get the Epic Pass or the Icon. You have no
do.
choice.
No, and it's so much. It's such a good deal, but it changes all the hills. I'm sure you're seeing it, that they all get so busy, and then we're just.
Everybody was saying that, but I mean, I don't know. It just seems always busy to me, anyway.
Yep. It is. It's crazy how many people are skiing nowadays.
Yeah,
It's insane. It's gotten so much bigger since I've started in the industry 17 years ago. It's crazy how much busier it's been.
Did you guys ever see the movie Dear Rider?
Sounds familiar.
This is like required reading for anybody in the ski industry. I can't believe it. It's not, for some reason, it's not even popular yet. But I saw it on a plane just on a whim. I was bored, so I watched a movie, and it's the story of Burton.
Oh, cool.
Dude, it is good. It is really
brand new one, it looks like.
It's excellent, and it really does tell the story of how he turned from they had that like snurfer or whatever, and it was like this really like nothing situation. It was like just people were just trying it out, and they were just goofing around, and he turned it into like an actual sport where you could buy a reliable board. It wasn't this like it wasn't just like a one piece of wood. It was laminated, and it had like bindings, and he really promoted it like literally out of the back of his car. It's a great documentary. You got to check it out.
Maybe I have watched it. I watched one about him, and I don't know if it was that one or not, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it really covers everything. It shows his competition, his the people that he sponsored, how he got it into the Olympics, his battle with, and then personal story like his, how he battled cancer, his business, the comeback, and then like ultimately, he lost the battle to cancer. But you really got a chance to see like the whole arc of Jake Burton's career. It's incredible. It's really incredible. Pretty cool. Yeah. So, so I want to jump to the question, but maybe I'll probably save my horror story of getting stuck on the lift. Should I save it for later? This is funny. I'll save that for the end. Let's jump into the biggest question of the night. and we're gonna I can't even handle it myself. I need like someone, who's got some muscles. We're gonna hand it over to the Harley driver, Duke Lazowski. What do you got for us?
That's it. We're all warmed up, so we're ready for the first question. Weston, did you have shop class growing up?
I did. I had it in middle school and in high school. It was interesting. It could have been better. It could have been better, but it worked out great for me. It was good. So in middle school I remember my first year, like 7th grade or whatever. It was a pretty cool class. We made little cars. I think they were the cars you like pop the CO2 and they shoot down the hills. And they're
yeah.
Yep. Even like molded the tires and shit. They had the little BBs of plastic and stuff. It was pretty cool. And then that guy retired, I think, or whatever. We ended up with this different guy who didn't care. He just sat in the corner and let the kids do some inappropriate things all day. I remember having fun as heck in that class because nobody cared. But then I get into high school, and we did have a shop teacher in there. It was automotive and diesel, or automotive and welding. We had both in there. There's 2 different periods, and I missed out though. His heyday was right before me, where they used to build race trucks and all this stuff, made really cool things. Yeah, he did some race trucks. They'd race them out at the local like drag strip.
Wait, like a semi truck racing?
No, it was like I think it was a mini truck. They make like mini trucks.
Oh, cool.
And, and I guess they were badass. Like, and there were still kids who remembered him and who remember doing it, but I didn't get to do it. Because when I showed up, his first year was pretty good, and we did like a lot of good shop safety and all the basic cool stuff. And then something flipped with him, and I think he was on some different meds and had some health issues, and it kind of changed him a little bit. And it was still pretty interesting. So he was okay. But so what happened is we ended up it was during the Olympics. So it was in like 2002 was the Olympics here in Salt Lake City, and he got in with bobsledding, really big. We have the local bobsled track here in Park City where they did the Olympics, and we started building and fixing bobsleds.
Really?
Not cars. Yeah, we weren't working on cars ever. It was just, he got into this bobsledding thing. So we ended up actually like welding on some of the bobsleds that were in the Olympics. So it was kind of neat. It was kind of a cool experience to do that, but you didn't learn a whole lot about automotive, which you're supposed to be doing, but that was kind of neat.
Wait, that's pretty interesting. So when I was in college, we had a guy who taught I don't remember what he called it, but it was the best. He was basically a shop teacher. And I went to college for product design, but all of them were like these architectural style designers or whatever. There's a lot of drawing, but the one guy that was like talking about manufacturing and how to make things and milling machines and lathes, the one guy he had the patent on some sort of bobsled, blade.
Like the runners. Yeah, I think they all use the same one. I think they all use like the same runners, the same blade.
This guy figured out how to make it melt a little bit. It was a little friction in the beginning, and it would liquefy it towards the end. And he somehow made it faster. I don't know.
Huh. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it was weird. We did that, and I was like, "This is silly." But he also taught the welding shop, and I was way more into welding. My old man was a diesel mechanic, so he always had me welding with him a bunch. And I ended up taking, like, of course, first 2 periods welding, the other 2 periods of the day. By the end of my career at high school was window auto shops. I just was in the weld shop, and he didn't know how to weld very good, our shop teacher. So my old man would come in and give me lessons in the school on how to weld and how to run the mill and the lathe a little bit. So he kind of took advantage of it, and it was a pretty good program. But by the end, I think he kind of got in some trouble, because what this guy would do, he would go buy old cars after the bobsled stuff. He would go buy cars, should have the kids strip the cars, and he'd sell the parts on eBay. For real.
Or that summer.
Or that summer. Dude,
Yeah.
you gotta understand, this is a running joke with us, because there's a movie about this called
He did it. This dude freaking did it. He would go have these kids strip the cars and they'd sell the parts. I don't know.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I always felt terrible for him.
That's really funny. There's a movie with Mark Hamill in it. It's called Corvette Summer, and they built like a custom vet, and then So I don't know if I should give it away, but oh my
I
god,
need to watch that one.
dude, should I give it away? Because I gotta tell you, I was actually surprised at the ending. So maybe I
Really?
should say anything. Nick, what do
Let's
you
see
think?
what do we stream? Oh, it's an old one from 1978.
Oh,
Man.
dude, and it is all about exactly. And
It really, it's on. Oh, it looks like you have to pay for it on everything too. That's
oh,
that looks funny. I'm gonna have to watch this one. What?
I don't know. I
That's
can't
funny.
tell you the ending, but basically,
Yeah.
the car got stolen, which sucks. And then
Yep.
Mark Hamill, his character, spends the rest of the movie trying to find it, and he goes
Oh,
on this
wow.
journey, and he has to go find it and stuff. And I'm not going to tell you.
Car. Holy crap!
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Wait, I'm going to pull it
That's
up. I'm sorry.
insane.
Hold on.
That's an insane looking car. Just the pictures of it.
Oh, dude, I think we're going to build that one summer. That's going to be a Shop Class podcast build.
Even just do the matchbox of that thing would be pretty cool.
Dude, honestly, we should just build this thing. This will be our project.
Turn your Tesla into that thing.
All right. Dude, look at that thing. Oh my god. No, you can't do a Tesla. You got to do old school big V8.
Yeah, you do. Well, you'd piss some people off, wouldn't you, if you made that electric?
Nah, dude, see, I love electric, but I also like old school. I'm both, dude. I'm the
Yeah,
only.
same here.
Yeah, man, it's all.
I understand
interesting.
it both.
Yeah,
You
dude,
can't. You got that hood scoop in there. Like you got to hear that.
Well,
Oh yeah, look, no
Whoa.
headlights. Holy crap!
Just insane. Look at those wheels and stuff. Oh my god.
So what's that one there? You can make a 3D model of it. Is that what
Oh,
that is there?
right. Oh, dude, maybe it's a
You could
collaboration.
print it out, make an RC car out of it or something.
Oh, no way. Look at this. It's a small, yeah.
Oh wow,
Dude, I gotta get this thing. What the hell is going on here?
somebody made it. That is crazy.
Oh, no way. I'm printing it this week. I just got a printer. Yes. Yes.
I've been looking for one. There, it's on my list too.
Dude, yeah. Oh, the Dremels are really reliable. I like them. But Nick and Duke do a lot of 3D printing. What do you guys recommend?
Oh man, I don't know. It all depends on the price. Like
Yeah.
I got these ones in the middle school. I got like 10 or 12 of them. These mono prices. They just run. But they're
Really?
like $200. You can get them on sale for like 150, but they don't make them anymore. They've been discontinued. But every once in a while they go back. A lot of people just said just get those Creole tees. Ones.
Yeah, I
Reality.
think that's what Rosie was saying to go with. And I was also looking at
Yeah.
bamboo. A buddy said to get. He's a machinist, so his is probably a high dollar one. He said go with a bamboo. I think it was.
Yeah, the Bamboo Labs is the most
Yeah.
recent one to come out that is really reliable.
I was trying to reach out to them, see if they'd send one my way to test it out, but I haven't heard back from them. So I think I got to buy one.
That Creality one's like $200. It just went on sale on Amazon, 186.
I need
Yeah.
to get one. I for the kids and me alone. I picked up a laser engraver finally, so now I got to definitely need to get a 3D.
What
printer.
laser engraver did you get?
I got the X tool. They reached out to me and sent me one, and it is pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
I'm shit. I've heard it's a little bit more money than some of the others, but it works really well, and I'm really happy with the operating system for it. They're like their own program. You're not using Lightburn. You can, but I haven't actually got it to talk correctly. But their system is really pretty sweet. Me and the
Yeah.
boy had it working and cutting within 15 minutes. It's a pretty sweet little machine.
Nice.
I engrave all my parts with it. I was sitting out, and I got tired of doing that, so got the X tool, and it's doing stainless steel really well.
So
with
that's
the
a
diode
good
laser.
that's a good segue for your invention. So we got the shop class, we got the yeah, I mean the guy before me, I think here was building, he wasn't tearing the cars apart, he was actually building them up with
Oh,
the kid
fuck.
layer and selling them to the other teachers. So
That's
they're all
awesome.
they're all in on it. Yeah.
I did something like that in high school in the weld shop. He'd let me have free reign. He didn't care what I did. So I was in their weld shop welding all day. And I ended up welding quite a few bumpers for some of the teachers. So I made money in class. And that's like, so I spent welding.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, why not start, I mean, they should have, I mean, of course, you're not supposed to make money, profit off the school, but I think they should have some sort of entrepreneur hands-on thing that you sell. You
Oh,
know,
yeah. Throughout all of the shops, even in the screen printing. Like, why can't the kids make T-shirts and sell them and like set up a little booth?
Dave
and sell their
Potts, you
t-shirts?
got to make my T-shirts, man.
Yeah, we actually have a student activity account where the money that we make goes into this account, and I used it to actually buy more equipment, bigger
Oh,
equipment.
cool.
At one point, we had $15,000 in our little savings account.
And so you'll print
Wow.
out shirts for the school and all that, and then the kids buy them and stuff.
Still do it. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, even for outside of the school. I do trophies, plaques. I get money for them for all the teams. You know, they're all laser engraved.
Wow. That's great. I mean, why not use the kids are going to learn, and people are like, oh well, they're college for all. But the thing is, like, you got to do some hands-on and mix it up. I say mix the theory with the application. So that's a good thing you do, Dave.
Well, it's the kind of thing where there's not a lot of places around where our school works now or is now where you can go and get a plaque in 10 minutes or half an hour or whatever, but you can come to my shop and, we'll make one for you. So,
yeah, the laser engraving's great, so, I mean, and, this is a Brunt hat, and it was laser engraved within a couple of minutes. It wasn't big enough, I thought, at the time. It was very quick laser engraved, but it's a lot of fun, and then things happen fast. Yeah. So
hey, you could buy iron-on patches now. They're 87 cents. They come in rawhide color. You laser engrave it, and then you can use a heat press iron on your hat.
nice.
And they even come with a stitching already, a faux stitching. So it looks like it's stitched on the hat. You can buy a sheet that's 12 by 24. I think that's like $6, and then you can laser engrave those sheets in the shapes.
Nice.
So if you want an oval or octagon or whatever, you could do that in variety of colors.
Dave Potts, where you been? We got to learn all about your operation. I did a tour at his school. It was really cool, and I got to work with Kevin Witt. He's on Instagram, K Witt. And, we got a tour of the school. I like that they open up their school. That was really nice. And, I got to talk to your supervisor because I want to do a supervisor's roundtable discussion because we have a lot of industry pros like Weston, and then we have shop teachers, but we don't really have too many supervisors on. And I think that we want their perspective. Like, what's it like managing a bunch of hooligans like us, So it's like –
Sure. I'm sure he'd like to do it. He's in a supervisor's roundtable already as it is, so he's used to this format. So
yeah. So we'll get him on. I think we had him on once before, but I want to bring him in again, except with multiple supervisors. I like that. He really kind of knows what's going on, and I'm lucky. I have a good supervisor now, but I've been through some bad ones, and it's pretty crazy. It makes you want to leave the district, but it worked out. So I like where I'm at. Luckily. Speaking of things you make in a shop and inventions and laser cutters, we're going to shift gears here into the Weston's Picket, the Picket Pro. I'm going to pull it up. Tell us what this thing is, man. What is this thing?
So I call it the Picket Master Pro is what I call it. It's an accordion spacing layout tool. I'm sure you've seen similar tools like them. Like the guys in the aircraft have used them for a long time for spacing out rivets. They're one of the biggest users of something like it. But what I do is I grew up, my first job was building handrails. I worked at a fabrication shop, and all we did was handrails, or not all, but most of what we did was handrails and fences. So it was ornamental ironwork. And he had a tool similar to this for spacing out your pickets. You'd spread it out, and all the spaces are exactly the same, So I always loved using it because you didn't have to sit and waste your time with the math of finding your full length, adding your picket, and then dividing it up and getting all that. So whenever I welded in my own personal shop that I've had forever, I've always had a weld shop where I do my own personal work and work for others. Pissed me off sitting there doing all that math and then or using like the cheater calculators you can find online, and you would tell you to go to 4 7/16, then it would tell you the next one and the next one and the next one down your tape. That worked. But if you wanted to add a picket or take a picket away, it drove me freaking nuts. I hated it. So about during COVID, I made my own out of my kids' Legos. Like I finally figured out, oh, that's super simple. So I made one out of his Legos on how to make it look and it was super easy. So I got some bar stock, some aluminum bar stock, cut my own, drilled my own. And as soon as I built it, I'm like, I got to, because I never could find them. Like that was the big thing. I looked for years and years and years online to find one that would work for welding, for fabrication. And I could find like the small ones that would space out to like 2 or 3 inches. And there's cheap ones on Amazon or whatever that can do 4 or 5 inches, but there's not very many marks. You could never get very many. So I came up with my first one had a whole lot extra, but I came down to 12 points and you spread it out and they're always equal. So they're always the same. So it just made spacing out your pickets so much easier. But I made a whole bunch by hand at first. And I like, let's put them on the internet. Let's go. And I just hounded people on Instagram. Like, hey, do you want to check this out? Check it out. And they started buying them. And that's 4 years later. And we just had our best year ever now. And it just keep going. But now I'm getting them all laser cut. So I contract that out to a company, Send Cut Send, right now. They're doing amazing work. They're so freaking cool. They're really good to work with. If you guys haven't worked with them, they are really good. They're cutting them for me. They're sending them to my door. I throw them in a vibrator. We tumble them right here in house. And I have a buddy I contract out to him, and he sits down with a straight reamer and reams out every single hole so they're the exact size of the bolt. And then I just sit there and I bolt them together. I use bolts so that you can add on, you can customize it. I sell individual blades. So if you wanted to make it, you're like, I always want 15 pickets or 15 spaces, whatever you're building, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. So instead of using rivets, it's just a nice way to go. Or if you drop it, they're all 304 stainless, so it can bend. So if you bend a tip, you can order a new one off my website, and we'll get you a new one coming. They're pretty handy tools. So I have 3 different models of it. It's kind of neat. I got the 12 point for like your heavy ornamental iron shops, or I got guys like diesel mechanics who are welding on buckets, or they're fixing a big bucket or a boom and they want to stitch weld it. They spaced it out, they're stitch weld, so it looks pretty. So they're not just guessing. And then I got the pack out foams, you can put them in. And then I got a 7 point for your more hobbyist shop or a small weld shop. You want to space out tabs or hooks, or wood shop, you want to space out your holes to make a bracket or whatever you're doing out of wood. They're really sweet because they're super small and you can take them with you. And then the newest one is the one that just went crazy on the internet for me, is the 3 point. So this is one that everybody can use. It's what's super cool. So it's a center finder. So this one of the center is always going to be in the very center of the edges. So if you wanted to, whatever your piece you're working on, and you want to know your center, you just spread it out edge to edge, and there it is. It's super handy. I've been using it for laser work and stuff. If I want to find the center of what I'm engraving, I just find the center, and that's where I start my machine at, or whatever. It's pretty sweet little handy tool. I've been using it more and more. Now that I built it, I have some other ideas for a different one, but it's a really handy tool as well.
Nice. Dave, what do you think?
I got one suggested, Weston. Another one.
Yes.
One for Golden Mean.
Yes, I have been
Mean.
I need to do one. I was asked the other day, and I need to do that one.
Wait,
Yeah,
what are you guys talking about?
What's that?
What is
The
it?
golden ratio.
The golden ratio. It's like a 3 to 5. It's roughly 3 to 5 ratio for determining, what's the best looking nature oriented aspect ratio.
What'd you call it? Golden ring?
Golden
ratio.
Mean. MEAN or ratio. Yeah.
Yeah. Because who invented that? Wasn't it the Romans that came up with it first, or was it even older than that?
I think the Italians. I think
Nature
the
invented
Italians. Yeah.
Nature did. True. It's very true.
Nature. Exactly.
This?
Yep. That's it. That's the prettiest looking thing. If you look at any of those ancient
Fibonacci sequence, right?
Comes tied in with a Fibonacci sequence. Yep.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean,
It's all
yeah.
in a snail shell.
What?
It's all in a snail shell, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
I see
Is it
it.
really?
Yep, snail, nautilus, sunflower, pine cone. Yeah, they all use that basic ratio.
Wow. Maybe you could do it as something that dials. Like, take a look at camera
Oh, that-
lenses.
That could work. I think that can do one where it actually has a second pivot, and then it always has it brings it over and it makes 3 or it makes it 4 marks, I believe. I've kind of seen you out there.
Yeah, I've cut one
Definitely
out
on
of
the-
plexiglass, you know, to
Yep.
keep in the shop at school, but it's not durable.
Yeah, I've made some of these actually, the Picket Master out of plastic as well. I had my laser shop before I got my own making them. And
Uh-huh.
they were nice because they don't scratch anything. So the plexiglass was super cool, but they weren't quite as accurate, not the action I was liking. So I kind of
Right.
they're in the toolbox. I don't really market those much anymore. I was pushing them for woodworkers and stuff, but not so much anymore. Now that I have my own machine, I can maybe dial it in. But yeah, I think you're right. I should come up with one of these. I don't know if everybody would understand what it is, but I think the people who do would really love it.
Well,
Where
again, it would be an easy way to avoid the math, you know,
Yep.
if
Yeah,
you're
'cause
doing a design or layout or something. Yes.
Well, that's you guys know how easy it is to screw up the math. Even you guys are all teachers, so you probably understand it way better than I do. But even as a fabricator or anything, if I could not do the math and screw it up and a machine tells me how to do it, it's going to work out better.
Right.
That's one of the big arguments I get on Instagram or TikTok when I'm posting videos of any of it, the 3-point or the 12 points, just do the math. But I can do it. That's done. Like there's your center. It's that easy rather than wasting the time doing the math. And you can change it, you can adjust it. If you want to add more spaces in or take them away by what you see visually rather than spit, so you just open up your tool and it changes. So I'm a big factor of math can be a waste of time. It's kind of like we don't use math to find square anymore. Nobody does the 3, 4, 5 to if you can use a square instead. But it works. It's definitely there and it can work. But if you can use a tool, why would you? We use lasers instead now too? Like we're not doing the math anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Now the actual pieces are stainless steel. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, they're all stainless steel, 304, 14 gauge stainless, and they show up to my shop all perfect, exactly cut. They're all exactly the same cut on those big $1 million lasers, and they're a little under an 1/8 inch thick. They're sharp as shit too. When they show up, they're really gnarly sharp. So I throw them in
Is the tip part of the whole body of the line?
Yeah, it's all one thing. It's all one blade. They're all the same blade, other than the ends. They're half blades to make it work. So you
Yeah.
don't have an extra piece, but they're all one piece. I have been toying with adding carbide into some of them so you could scribe with them. I just haven't had time. I'm a super busy. I can't find time to get a hold of some carbide and make it work. But
And then
it's on the list.
you laser engrave it, and then that's how you put your name on it.
Yep, I was sending it out to a nice shop down the road, and they would laser engrave it for me. But I kept getting to more and more orders, and I just couldn't keep up with it. Now I do them in house. I sit my 12-year-old at the laser, and he just sits there and feeds it. Pay him a little bit of money, and he's happy as hell. So yeah, I laser engrave my logo so that when they're sitting on a bench at a weld shop or some guy's personal shop, and his buddy walks in, he knows, hey, where'd you get that thing? It tells you right there. He can order one up right away. It's pretty sweet. Our website is saltcitysteel.org. I do tons of videos. I probably annoy half the people on the internet, but it's worked out, so I'm gonna keep going.
No, it's good stuff. Your daughter's hilarious. She's
She loves it, man. She loves
so
it.
funny. She tells you she's this exchange is hilarious. This one. You guys are basically like talking smack to each other.
Yeah, she was asking me for days to make that one, and then she pulled it off amazing. I need to use her for more marketing ideas. Truthfully, they watch all the trending videos, so they know what to do.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Come do it, Dad." And even one of my very first videos posting the Picket Master on anything, she's filming it, and you can hear her giggling and stuff. And so it's a big family experience. And even the kids, all of them sit down and help me build them and do little parts of the fabrication of it and the cleaning them, and it's a big family experience. It's been
awesome.
really cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that video there, my daughter's filming that, and like right away, you can hear her do a little giggle at me because I had no idea how to be on film. Like, just like you, like when we started doing this stuff, you don't have any idea how to do it. It's so nerve wracking, and you say the wrong word, you think it matters, and it doesn't matter. But
No, it don't matter.
if any of those first videos we all did, it feels so weird, but it's so much
Yeah.
fun. It's been such a blessing for us. It's really cool.
This one's hilarious. I gotta play this one. Hold
Yeah,
on.
do it.
Let's play this one. I think it's really funny. I gotta mute my.
Invented the Picket Master Pro. He's a freaking genius.
My daughter thinks I'm a genius. I think I am too.
My dad owns a welding shop, so he has like 1,000 drills that probably do the exact same thing.
I own a welding shop. And friends and family want me to work for free. I don't like that idea.
My dad owns a welding shop in the garage. Where does my mom park?
I own a welding shop pretty much just so I can buy more tools.
My dad invented the Picket Master Pro. He's a freaking genius.
My daughter.
That's hilarious. Yeah, where's your mom park? Right.
Right there.
Oh,
Right
man.
behind me. That's the hardest part, having a welding shop in your garage. And it's a big garage, but she likes to park inside. So I got to make that happen.
Well, it's cold, man. I understand.
Yeah, I want her to have a comfortable car. So I still park outside most of the time, but
Yeah. Now, what's the other bit that you do is out of that welding shop, you're also doing railings and regular welder stuff, right?
Yep, exactly. And that's how it's all started forever. Once I was in, like I said, in welding shop in high school, I was making money. So I realized right away, no matter what, you can make money doing it. And that's a huge thing I push with welders or woodworkers or anybody in the trades is, yeah, you're at work and you got to work at work, but why not work more? Like, especially if you work 4 10s, there's a whole day you can make some more money. There's none of they tell us that the trades pay well. They do, but they don't. You know, any job you can if you have time to make more money, you make more money. I don't care. So I've always had a weld shop. That's why I bought this house we're in for the past 15 years, because it had a big 35 by 35 cinder block building behind it that was actually used to be an auto shop. This dude, the old man, had 3 bay doors. He would drive cars in here and work on them behind his house. So we picked this house up. I've had a weld shop out here ever since. So yeah, I do handrails, gates, planter boxes, trailer repairs, anything that comes in, whatever it is. I got a few contractors I work with, a lot of word of mouth, stuff like that. Instagram's helped me find some work, but I got a CNC plasma cutter, iron worker, the laser, big wood table.
Which iron worker do you have?
I have a 1974 Scotchman.
Okay.
Man, I might have to let's go check this out. Let's see if I can take us for a walk here.
Yeah.
So I was looking for one forever, and I found this guy here for $1,000
Whoa.
over it. It's back when the Scotchman was actually Dvork, and it's super cool. It's got the shear. It can shear iron or angle iron, and then it's got the punch. Let me move this. Sorry to make you get sick. So the punch is back in there, and you can punch up to like 1 inch with it. It's super cool, but you don't have a big throat. It's super old. I love it though. I ended up having to put a 3-phase. It was 3-phase, so I put a single-phase motor in it so I could run it in this shop, and it's worked out pretty well. I don't use it often, but when I do, it really helps out.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, there was a Scotchman, or I guess a Piranha maybe, over at this shop that I used to work at. It was a college shop, and they had it's great when you just hit that button. It's like
Easy.
instead of drilling it.
It's ridiculous how much time you can save with an iron worker. They're dangerous as hell, though. If you're not careful, they could really hurt it. I've seen guys. So when we built handrails, the quickest way is you use channel iron, and then you punch a square hole for your picket to go through, and weld the bottom. And then the top's pretty; it's all smooth. That's your bottom rail of your handrail, and then you just weld the bottom on one side, and you're done. and you weld one side underneath the top piece of channel. All your seams are hidden. And that's kind of why I wanted it, was for fence work and stuff like that. So you could easily build stuff really, really quickly. You just throw it through the holes and you're done. But I've seen guys lose eyeballs with them. They have a die set up wrong and it
What?
shatters the die and flies out and hit them in the eye.
Oh man.
There, and cut your fingers off easy as heck. They're dangerous. They're one of the gnarliest things you can have in a shop, but man, they can save time.
Yeah.
So much time.
Yeah. Interesting. Nick, do you got an iron worker in the shop? I don't know if he's still there.
No, I don't. I just have a de-arco bender, a slip roller, a jump shear.
There's a slip roller right back there, hidden behind the drywall.
All right.
I got so many tools. But like the video said, half my shop is just so I can buy tools.
There you go. There you
Set
go.
up for the future when I gotta just work on my own. I've been
What's your
collecting
latest
like
tool that
crazy.
you got?
What's that again?
Give us your latest tool.
My latest tool that I bought, I think it's some other stuff. I bought a tile saw. Oh, no, I have one right here. It's right there. It's in the box. So Evolution sent me over a chop saw. I got a 15-inch metal cutting chop saw. It's one of those new ones with the, instead of using the carbide that we all grew up using, it's got the regular steel blade with the carbide tips.
Oh, it's way better. It goes slower and it puts liquid, right?
I don't think this one's liquid. No, it's just dry, but it
Oh, at
does
least
go slow.
You don't have to breathe.
Well,
to
oh
dry.
no, you're talking about like a wet saw. Those are freaking cool as hell. It's not one of those. No, it's still pretty fast and it shoots out sparks and makes a mess, but loud as
Yeah.
hell. But those cold saws are some of the coolest saws ever. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of power they have and how quick they cut is so nice.
Nice. Now,
Don't-
what's some of the most popular things you made? Is the railings?
Yeah, the railings are where I've always made my money. They're really very lucrative. They take a lot of math and a lot of time, but they're very lucrative. You can, most railings should be at like 150 a foot. So you think about if you get a deck, quite large deck, you can make pretty good money with a railing. So there's a lot of money in railings and fences. I do really right now. Planter boxes are a really big popular
Oh, really?
thing.
My buddy's doing a spiral staircase right now for some place in New York City that wanted it.
Cool. Oh wow, that is really cool.
Yeah,
That's that is not easy at all. Holy
no,
crap.
this is legit. And he usually does like custom motorcycles and cars and stuff like that. But he had to, and it's cold right now, so he's, and his shop is not. His shop is big, and it's still not big enough for this. So he had to figure this how to do this outside.
That's some good money there. That is super cool. That's a cool way to do it out of the 4 different pieces. Looks like, rather than a big I-beam getting it bent by somebody else.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah, he cut all these
Right.
pieces, and
That's a good way to do it. I've seen them where if you have a local shop with some really big equipment to help you make that, but the math of that is pretty ridiculous. That dude's killing it.
I think you think he wrapped it around a piece of like a wood mock-up staircase to
That's a
get
good
it
way
right.
to do it. That's
Yeah.
a really good way to go about it. Let me give him a follow.
Oh yeah, Speakeasy Motors is awesome, and they make believe it or not, he makes whiskey as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, dude, if you're into whiskey, this is awesome, the stuff he does.
Oh,
And,
I'm already following him.
oh yeah, you probably know him. He used to work for Orange County Choppers.
Oh, did he?
He's got an open house every year. It's really a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
He recently did this crazy thing,
Oh, fun.
and that was built from scratch, like literally, like ground up. That was crazy. Yeah, Evan, and this is the distillery that they have going. This is in close to Wallkill, New York.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I bet Nick's got to go and meet him one day. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, and he does this great looking bike. This is kind of how he got started. He does these really custom bikes. They're just like every detail is like taken care of.
Man, I need to get more into that stuff. It's hard to find time. Ski lift, having a full-time job really gets in the way of doing some really fun projects.
Oh yeah, this bike here, the tank is in your butt.
Oh, wow. That's
And,
a cool way to go.
Yeah, it's wild. And I saw this bike in person. This is actually, he sold this to Pink, the artist.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she's now riding it.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
super cool. Good for
Yeah.
him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
what's so cool about this whole Instagram world is how we can see
Dude.
what everybody's doing and enjoy each other's work, and it's such a positive place most of the time for
yeah.
share your love and what you're doing. It's such
Mhm.
fun. Where some of the
Yeah.
other platforms are terrible. Like,
No,
it's just
I know. It's-
so terrible.
I'm so glad we found the Instagram thing. I mean, basically, people always say to me, like when I first started, because we're shop teachers, so they say, "Oh, you can't be on Instagram, you can't do all this stuff." It's and I was like, "Yeah, but if you're doing positive stuff, what?
Yep.
Who cares?" It's a great way of sharing ideas. And we started the Shop Class podcast by talking to other shop teachers from other states and whatnot, and then it really took off in the pandemic, because we had to exchange ideas of what we were going to do. I mean, I had to teach shop class from my computer, which was crazy.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That would be so hard.
Yeah. So
my old man was actually a shop teacher for 2 years.
get out of here.
Yeah, right before the pandemic. He retired from the county as a fleet diesel mechanic and just ended up at the shop for a little while at one of the high schools doing diesel mechanic for them for about a year and a half, 2 years. I showed up there and talked to those kids a few times. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, cool. So speaking of that, it's a good segue. We usually go longer, but we're kind of covered a lot tonight already. But one of the last questions we asked is, what would you want the shop teachers to add? Or like if you could like tell me what to teach or add to my curriculum. Don't forget you got Duke teaches middle school. I teach metal and auto, but it's kind of like a prototype shop. And then there's wood next door, and then Dave Potts doing graphics, but actual, like you could print it. And then you got Nick, he's upstate New York. He does laser, wood turning. Geez, Nick, what are some of the things you do? Oh,
Does a lot with the TV production at his school.
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Sorry.
And then Rosie's on here from the builder session. Rosie, what kind of stuff do you teach?
I teach welding, fabrication. I have a makerspace class, and we're just starting a intro to trades class next quarter. We're a quarter system school.
Cool. That's gonna be a good one, Rosie.
It's gonna be awesome.
That's super important. Back to your question there, if I can answer that now, or do you want to?
Yeah.
I would say that there's jobs, that there is a path with this is a huge thing. That's where I'm stressing out right now at work. We're going to grow we're going to double in 2 years or 3 years. My work is doubling in size. Where am I going to find enough people to fix ski lifts? Like, that is a huge thing. And that's like I want to start going and talking to shop teachers like you guys and talking to the students and showing them these different industries like ski lifts, like just millwrights alone, that there's these other fields rather than your basic electrical, your basic fab shop, your basic auto shop. There's field maintenance things all over that these kids should get into. So I would say to try to push different career paths rather than your basic ones that the shop sounds like it's about, your automotive, whatever, you know what I mean? By saying that's where they're going to make some more money, and they're going to have more skilled careers if they know about these other industries. Even working at a plant, like you're working at a plant, you're fixing the conveyor belts or whatever. Most people don't know that's a real job. They think when they go become an electrician, they got to go wire a house. No, you can go do all kinds of cool things as an electrician. I got lots of guys working mines. I know tons of buddies working in mines out here. All the different things you work on, tractors and everything. Yes, but to push them that there's so many more paths to this career, to the trades. I mean,
that's great to hear. I don't think people hear it enough. Even believe it or not, like we had some guests on talking about building snowboards and the design of the machine that makes the snowboard and all the different types of boards. And then now Burton's got to step in. So the prototyping of that, I mean, there's so much going on in the ski industry that you just wouldn't think of. And New Jersey has skiing and a lot of mountain biking. So it's not like, I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody else. I'm just saying, like, in my area, I think these kids will rule out working at a ski resort just because we're 1 hour away and we're in an urban neighborhood. I hear it all the time. The typical thing that kids do is they go like a moth to the flame to the fast food. And what I say is, listen, you don't have to do that unless you want to own the restaurant. That's fine. Then you're studying the ways of a fast food restaurant, and you can own that franchise one day, like that local location. That's a possibility. But if not, they're always like, nah, I need money. Yeah, well, okay, but you're wasting your time. You can get money doing something for real, and learn some skills, because the money comes and goes. But what you're left with after the money's gone and you pay your bills is the things you learn to build.
Yep. And that's with the trades, is how much, like I'm saying, we can do it at home. You can even do it as a craft. You don't, or like to make something for yourself. You don't have to sell something, but to have that knowledge that you guys are teaching these kids, to show them that there's a future with this. If you get into woodworking, sure, you're going to be a lawyer, but if you want to go relax on the weekend and build something in the garage, build your own table, you don't have to just be a lawyer and buy everything. You can actually do something with your hands and go to these maker camps and learn so much more. And I think that's where the country really getting into. A lot of people are realizing, wait, I can just start doing this stuff. And the pandemic blew it up. Like even with my Picket Master, that's when it came out. We all learned a little bit more. We all just started doing more stuff. See, Rosie's got one. Rosie's got the new one.
Oh,
but
cool.
it just really gets. That's what I want to see with the schools, is to teach kids that this stuff's something they can have forever. And it is. Like I learned so much in shop, but to show them that there's other jobs rather than, oh, you gotta be an electrician. Electricians suck. No, you can do so much with it. It's pretty cool.
Nice, Rosie. What are some of the things you do in the maker space?
Well, I wanted to start off. I got really inspired by the subscription-based maker spaces in the U.S. And basically, there's this curriculum, or not a curriculum, but there's a rubric that kind of goes through all the stages in the manufacturing process, from concept to design to prototyping, like you said, and testing and tuning, and then final product and presentation. And so basically it's kind of a free-for-all. The first time this is the second quarter that we're a quarter system school. This is the second quarter that we've offered it. And the first time I was like, hey, the only, other than, within reason, but the only restriction to what you're going to make or build or create is it has to meet some sort of a need. And
that's a great one.
Yeah, and so we had a ton of different ideas. We had some, and they could use any modality they want, from robotics to or a combination of any. So we had kids doing Arduino and 3D printing. We had kids welding stuff. We had kids doing some woodworking. We had kids. There's one group that were into coding and Arduino, and they built this little cat. This little like robotic cat that turned its head, and it had some proximity sensors, and it would just go up and find a wall, and it would turn its head and look around for the next like way to go, and then the need that it was meeting was loneliness, or like companionship for shut-in people. And this other kid who's gonna work at NASA someday.
Oh, I remember that cat. I saw that on the Instagram.
Did you? Yeah. This other kid did this thing where we got him some. There's like, it's not proximity. Yeah, it's a proximity sensor because they use audio. And one of his uncles or something is hard of hearing, and he designed this prototype product that you strap on your hand or your wrist or wherever, and it listens around, and if it hears something loud coming, like a bus, or it'll like vibrate. So with people who are hard of hearing and they can't hear what's going on, when something loud kind of approaches, and I mean, this kid's in grade 11, right? Like it's going to take some tweaking, but it worked. I mean, basically it's like not even prosumer grade stuff, right? It's like Arduino and the little kits with the different sensors. but the concept that he came up with actually works. I was like,
Nice.
you should think about this. And then this quarter though, we had having it as a free for all. It was too many variables, too many credits that I had to figure out. Right.
Structure.
I'm going to try to do a locally developed course so I can just issue 5 credits for that. But right now we have to select different credits based on in our Alberta curriculum to assign to them, which works, but it's just a lot front loading. But this year, so I had this quarter, I kind of pared it down. I said you could either do a prosthetic leg, or you could do a doggy wheelchair, or you could do some sort of wearable tech, or propose another idea. And so I have 3 groups that are doing the doggy. There's this lady who owns a dog in another town just south of here, and he's got a little bummed leg, and she sent us measurements for him and everything, and then they built 3 of those. And then
we gotta have you on as a guest, man. We need the full, because I got a lot of maker questions.
Yeah.
The thing is that I run little competitions that build skills,
Oh, sweet.
and then those skills allow them to graduate to bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
So man, you got to come back and give us the full lowdown, because a makerspace is a little wild if you don't have structure.
It's true.
Yeah.
But there's a delicate balance there, because if it's too structured,
Right.
it can hinder their creativity, but they're also kids, so they're going to take that and run with it either way, right? So you got to be balanced that way. But and then this other group did this kid's grandma overheated one time, had heat stroke, and so they made this like necklace thing that has like a little Arduino powered heat sensor that it'll vibrate or flash or beep or something when her body temperature gets too high. Like, it's cool.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, dude, Rosie, you got to come on for the full thing.
One
Sure, yeah,
another thing
anytime.
Rosie's doing. Rosie, tell them about your truck you're building real quick too. If you guys haven't seen anything about that.
This is Weston's. This is about you, buddy.
Well,
I'm not doing anything cool right now. You're
I'm
doing
not
anything.
saying-
this is a preview
We
for
already
the next podcast. We'll get Rosie on here, but what we'll do is I just want to tell you my little ski horror story real quick,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna end the recording early because I think that we got a lot, so this is pretty good. We'll just hang out for like 10 minutes and kind of do an early night. Yeah, real quick. Basically, it was raining at the end of the night.
Oh.
Yeah, and because he's thinking like that's not a good
That's
move.
scary. That's
Yeah,
scary. I get nervous. Night, right before dark is when you get nervous as a mechanic sometimes.
Yeah, because in Mountain Creek in New Jersey, they run till 9 p.m.
I just saw one was it in New Jersey? There's one that runs like 3 a.m.
Oh no, we're
somewhere.
done at 9 p.m. and I absolutely love it because you could go from work, boom, you're at the slopes, good times. They got a bar. They do a fantastic job. They're owned by Snow Partners now, really good. But there was one incident where I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna get this last run. It was like 8:45. I caught the last chair along with a lot of other adrenaline junkies like me. I get on the lift, we get up there, and it stops, and we're halfway. And I'm like, any day now, guys. And now all of a sudden we're moving back. So we're moving back and we're stopping. Then we're moving forward and we're stopping. And I'm like, oh, there's an issue. There's an issue. People are jumping off.
And it's icy.
We're out there for 2 hours with a layer of ice on us. I'm alone, and I'm looking at these kids in front of me. They come to a low point where there's a like a hill. They jump. I get all of a sudden my chair pulls up on the same spot. I'm like, all right, screw it. So I unstrap. I'm getting ready to go, and then all of a sudden it moves again. I'm like, oh my god! Now I'm 30 feet in the air or 100 feet or whatever, and I can't jump. So I'm like, oh my god. So finally we get down, and it turned out that the vise, the thing that unclips, got jammed. That's what they said.
Okay.
You were talking about there's fixed.
Yeah, how the grip comes off. If something happened where it jammed up, huh? That's terrible. I wonder. There's a lot of things that could have went wrong, but that's a weird one. It must have had ice in it, if the rope was icing up on them, maybe that can happen. So how that drives that is there's a shiv well that the rope is sitting on, and then that spins that shiv wheel, and then there's a belt off of a pulley that goes up to the tires and the drive line system and everything. So it's all going off of that. So maybe they had an issue with the slip of the grip not wanting to go the same speed as the rope and it jammed up. But that's a big hazard with that night skiing. It's risky.
So for now
Gets
on, if
too
it,
cold.
if it rains and then the temperature drops, I'm done.
Yeah, rain can
I'm
really
done
screw up
for
the
the
ski
night.
lift. It gets dangerous when ice happens. I actually worked at a ski resort in New Zealand. That was the first place I worked on ski lifts. We went over there to follow my wife over. I don't know if I talked about it on Rosie's show, but
Yeah, I was listening. Yeah.
and that was the wildest place ever to work because what it was on a volcano in the middle of the ocean. Like New Zealand's in the middle of the ocean with nothing else there. So you'd get 100-mile-an-hour winds and like full of seawater coming up, and it's pretty high. We're pretty high elevation. I have no idea how high it was, but it was way up there. And the ski lifts would just get covered in ice, huge ice, to where they couldn't even run. And it would get so bad that the whole tower and all that in the rope is like it'd be 2 feet around of ice on the rope. And the towers are just covered in it to where they'd have to go up and bash it off with baseball bats and shit to open every morning. And there were some lifts that if the storms came in before the season too early, it ripped out the ski lift. It would tear out the towers. It would rip the terminals out.
Dude.
It was insane. So yeah, I know some of that ice can really destroy some stuff. I'm glad we don't get any of that. I think you guys might get a tiny bit of that out there, but not as bad as there. It was insane.
The best part was there was a guy. They had 2 guys at the end when you finally got off their 2 hours of hanging in the sky. I mean, we got off at 11 at night, like freezing.
That's
So
scary.
one guy would take a cigarette and he'd light it for you and hand it to you. Yeah. And you'd get your cigarette. And then the other guy would hand you a free lift ticket. So you walked off, you were like, oh my God, thank you for getting me down. All right. I don't even smoke,
Wow.
but whatever. Here's a lift ticket. You were just like,
That's good they got you off. It really
Yeah.
gets you because if they can't get you off, then they have to go up and evac you with a rope and belay you down like a rock climber. That's when it's really not fun when that has to happen. There's certain situations it's just broken. Like we said, if the gearbox something happens in there, that's a lot of it. If your gearbox fails, you're screwed. It's a piece of equipment. So we're in there maintaining them all the time. But if that goes out, there's not a lot you can do.
wow.
So-
Wow.
That's a lot of what I work on is the gearboxes. I do tons of that and the big bearings. We have huge, like 15 to 18-inch bearings inside of some of these. It's really neat.
Wow.
Some of the large equipment inside of it's super cool.
That's awesome. So look, we're gonna end it here, but I want to promote the Builder Session podcast. If you guys didn't get enough of Weston and Rosie, you got to get on this thing. They got an episode there with Weston. It's so awesome. And I really appreciate you guys being here. And don't forget, you can pick up your Picket. What's it called again? The
Picket Master.
Picket Master. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna get one of those for sure, dude.
We might have to get the 3-point sent your way. I think it'd be pretty handy for what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to do math with the kids. Forget it.
They would love it.
I have a 3-point and a 7.
I think so. Yeah.
And then Hoff got a 7 and a plastic one too for wood. I think they use it all the time, he said.
Are they? I need to get him to send me some pictures of that plastic one in use because I kind of stopped from selling them too much. But yeah,
And I got a math book that I've never opened either.
yeah, those math books are good. You guys all should check that out. Shiner's Practical Math Dictionary. He was a shop teacher, I believe, somewhere back there. Look those up there. I was selling those on my website for a while, and I'm not anymore. But they're
it's
really
not
good
on there?
books. No, I have stopped doing that, but I still like them. They're a good family, but they do some really cool books on math and how to use math in the trades. Super cool book. I don't know if he was a teacher or just in the trades, but it's directed at carpentry, at machine work. It's super good books. If you don't have one of those, check them out. Like how to read a mic, how to read dial indicators, how to use plumb bobs, and even just full on math, like the basic how to divide, how to do all of it. It's in there. It's a pretty cool.
I
book.
do the pizza pie with the kids because they don't know how to read a ruler. So,
Oh no.
Potts, what do you do with them?
You got to learn to read the ruler. So, and it's, use a pizza, use a dollar,
Yep.
Yeah.
just break it down into fractions.
Duke's saving us. He's teaching them, but he's doing the best he can.
And I just tell them count the total number of lines, that becomes the bottom number. Then
Right.
count the actual lines. Top number's odd, leave it alone. Top number's even, reduce both numbers.
Boom.
That's easy.
Boom.
But I don't know. Because my wife teaches math 7th grade, right? So I'm teaching them in 6th grade, 7th grade. She's like, my kids don't know what an odd or even number is. I'm like, my whole class is 22 days is based on odd and even numbers.
Yep.
Nick, what do you do at the high school?
I have no issues at all.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He buys the tape measure with the measurements already on them.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
The
barbecue.
digital tape measure. Yeah.
That's a
He
barbecue.
went metric.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, this has been cool. You guys are awesome. Dave, thanks for dropping in. And welcome to hang out. I'm just going to end the recording here. Rosie, nice meeting you. We're going to have another session with you for sure.
Cool.
Duke, as always, Nick and Weston, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And Weston, thank you for being out there and fixing all that stuff and coming up with cool inventions and being a welder. And man, and also talking to the shop teachers. Thank you. Because
Yeah, thank you for having me.
industry and the shop teachers need to talk more. This is the idea. All
They
right.
definitely do.
Cool. All right. Shop Class Podcast, and we're out.